Life has two essential skills that can help you in basically any situation: talking and, more importantly, listening. Most of Mushishi, in a span of 3 seasons, 2 specials, and 1 film, is our main character Ginkgo listening, paying close attention to not only how lives have been affected by these primordial entities called Mushi, but also how it affects every village and its inhabitants. There's a veil of warmth and adventure in seeing Ginkgo help villagers with their troubles, and it's fascinating. I'd often find myself watching an episode before bed. In an odd way, it reminds me of my parents telling me a bedtime story. Unlike a bedtime story though, many episodes end on a bleak note. In its subtle storytelling, it blends in elements of folklore that I've only been able to find in Mushishi. For that reason, it's often labeled as Iyashikei, which is one of my favorite genres. Being a subgenre of slice of life, this anime is a great example of Iyashikei, literally meaning healing in Japanese. It has very clear differences from other anime in the genre though, like Yuru Camp or Non Non Biori. Trimming out the comedic and brighter tones of a series like Yuru Camp, we are left with a darker study of human nature and its tendency to destroy its surroundings, or in this case, the Mushi. There's a sense of resolution as the credits for each episode rolled. Even if the conclusion wasn't necessarily happy, Mushishi's lessons comes from the struggles everyone faces and how Ginkgo attempts to fix them. The interesting part about Ginkgo is that he doesn't expect anything in return, which presents Ginkgo in a humble and earnest way. He genuinely just wants to help people coexist with the Mushi that's causing them issues. And the 2 episodes we get from his past, one being episode 12 in the first season, and the second being the first episode of Mushishi Zokusho season 2, we see that he had his fair bit of hardships in becoming a Mushishi. Having the scattered backstory of him that we learn over the duration of the show, it's clear that he not only respects Mushi, but wants to aid in forming a connection between their world and the human world. The duality between these 2 worlds is that humans ultimately want to have their own selfish ways, even if it means destroying the Mushi's natural sense of order. The cases vary from episode to episode, but the one that I think best illustrates this is episode 20 in the first season, Sea of Ink. In this episode, Ginkgo does his usual line of events and travels to help Tanyu, a girl who has a situation with Mushi. What made this episode special for me is the fact that firstly, Tanyu, based on her lineage, trapped this Mushi inside of herself deliberately. This Mushi that is labeled the Forbidden Mushi is only kept at bay by writing scripts with ink, which contain it. At the end of the episode, we see her express her desire to travel with Ginkgo and gain a deeper understanding of the world that the Mushi live in. It's a warm sentiment that showed Ginkgo finally forming a deeply woven relationship. Traveling from place to place, Ginkgo can never truly stay anywhere as he would only be causing a burden to those around him. As he attracts Mushi wherever he goes, he is constantly mobile. Rather than mourn about his condition, he extends a compassionate hand to those that struggle with Mushi. In this, we see a common theme. Ginkgo is in fact an expert in Mushi and is always willing to help, but he is by no means a savior. This is evident in a number of episodes where the person that is inflicted with the Mushi will simply not adhere to Ginkgo's advice. In those cases, the episodes often end in sadness and even tragedy. What I found really cool about the anime was that it maintained a similar style and pacing all throughout, even though there was almost a 10-year gap between the first season and Zokusho. Whether it's raining, sunny, or snowing, the scenes and atmosphere of the place that Ginkgo travels to are truly amazing and unforgettable. To give a brief contextualizing of Mushishi, we need to look at what Iyashikei is and why it exists. Tracing its origins back to 1995, it emerged as a result of the terrible Tokyo subway sarin attack and the Great Hanshin earthquake. As such, Japan had once again entered an apocalyptic setting. Post-World War II Japan has emerged as feelings of fear and anguish in multiple mediums and subgenres, as seen in movies like Godzilla or anime like Evangelion. But how Iyashikei tackles these feelings is in seeing the value of the everyday task: waking up, going to school, spending time with your family, traveling, eating great food, seeing friends. All things that one comes to enjoy when tragedy strikes, and fair enough, right? I mean, to get personal, I have seen this true in my own life. When I reach points in my life where tragedy strikes, I begin to appreciate and savor the little moments because I know they are temporary. They can vanish like a balloon that gets filled with too much air. When looking at an Iyashikei series like Yuru Camp or Barakamon, this is pretty clear. These anime take place in contemporary society that deals with everyday situations. Nothing overly tragic takes place in either anime, but both deal with very serious issues. In Barakamon, Seishu moves to the countryside to rediscover his calligraphy style and learn how to deal with criticism. In Yuru Camp, it focuses on the main character Rin learning and developing her ability to balance her love for camping alone while appreciating her ability to camp with her friends in the outdoor activities club, especially in the ongoing season. Both anime have similar qualities to Mushishi, but it's still an obvious outlier in the genre. It doesn't take place in contemporary society. It doesn't have moe tropes in its cast. Other than Ginkgo and a handful of characters, the cast is quite limited, with every episode having unfamiliar faces. I remember having this odd preconceived notion about the show. This wandering white-haired dude that smokes a cigarette in Edo, Japan. It seems uneventful, and to an extent it is, but that's exactly what makes it special. While we don't have Mushi in our world, helping others is a taxing thing to do. Why? Because speaking is drastically easier than listening. In order to help, you must genuinely listen and put your own thoughts and opinions in the background. To listen with true intent, to understand what they're trying to express, one can also learn something about themselves. That alone can bring incredible and positive change into your life. 2020 was quite the year. I have a lot of upcoming videos, keep an eye out for them. I'm now 23 and yeah, I'm still in college, and I also work. So my video schedule might be a little spontaneous, but yeah, just keep an eye out for it. 2021 has been rocky so far, but I have faith that it'll be a great year. Especially with COVID-19 still being a major part of our lives, Iyashikei is more important now than ever. It extends so far. Even with a game like Animal Crossing New Horizons released last year, it embodies the spirit of focusing on the trivial and otherwise mundane things we do every day. Giving yourself a moment to reflect on yourself and heal from any negative thoughts you may be having. Having a bite-sized, episodic anime that doesn't have any larger-than-life conflicts, or crazy combat, or any serious interpersonal struggles, it gives you an opportunity to unwind, refresh, and reflect. And you know, there's a time and place to have anime with combat and crazy interpersonal struggles and really big issues, but it's a retreat to just look at yourself and think about life and what you can do to improve it. And I think that's a really cool aspect of Mushishi. Subscribe to stay updated on future videos, follow me on Twitter and Kitsu, the usual. See my thoughts on a variety of things, and most importantly, thank you for watching. Stay well.